So last time we stopped at using aggregation with a group by. So the key here was that we had a group by clause. And then as soon as you have a group by clause, all the like order IDs in this case, because that's what we're grouping on, get grouped together. And then this calculation right here does not apply anymore, or I should say this calculation right here does not apply anymore to the entire table, but it now applies to each group. So you're basically summing up quantity times unit price for each of the orders, which gives you, of course, the order total. Now this query here does the same thing as we saw last time, but we are also applying a filter. So we're only providing those orders that have a total value of more than $1,000. In other words, where all the line items within the order add up to more than 1,000. Now, instead of adding up, we could have also counted. Counting means that we get a count of how many items there are in that group. So, for example, counting how many things somebody ordered, or counting how many orders a contact placed, allows us to use the count function. Let's check this out. Let's try it out. Again, you should stop the video and try this query for yourself first. So we're going to bring in contacts and orders. So first, we're going to bring in contact, last name. Bring last name and bring an order ID just to show you first. Let's just show it to you first before we do the entire query. So this shows you that Lee placed orders 5, 6, and 9, as well as 11. So he placed 4 orders. Milgram placed 4 orders. Goodman placed 1. Cologne placed 2. Modell placed 5. Gagan placed 2, and so on. But instead of printing them all out, I'd like to count them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group by last name. So I'm getting all the like last names, all the same last names together. And then the order of IDs, I'm not going to make part of the group by. It wouldn't even work. Look, grouping by last name, but it doesn't really give me what I want here. See? They all have different order IDs. But really what I want to do is I want to count these order IDs within each group. So the order IDs, I'm going to count them. And you run it, and you get Anderson 2, Cologne 2, Lee 4, Modell 5. That means there are 5 order IDs in his group of Modells. That means essentially that he placed 5 orders. Now, of course, again, the column name doesn't make much sense. We better use something different here, something like num orders for number of orders. Run that. So now that's a little bit more of a useful. By the way, the slides show you a different way of showing that. We can also have used num orders right here with count star, type in count star, and then select down here expression. That also works. Turns out it's the same query, but Access allows you to express the query both ways. So you could have written it like this, or we could have changed that to count star, and then here pick expression. Would have been exactly the same thing. So you can either type in the query like this or the previous way. Both will work. So let's try another query. Which orders are for less than $2,000? So we need to know the order total. So we already had a query for that, right? This is a query for the order totals. Again, orders, line items. Don't really need products really as part of that, so we can delete that. And then the key here was to sum up the quantity times unit price for each group by order ID. And then less than 2,000 is a different filter. Those would be that many. By the way, if I want to count how many there were, let me show you how to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save that query. I'm going to simply order totals. Give the query a nice name. I'm going to create a new query. I'm going to bring in this time that query. So I actually have now a query that is based on another query. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down the order IDs where the order total was less than oh, actually, that's already part of that. I'm sorry, I forgot that. That's already less than 2,000. Let me change this briefly. I'm going to actually go over here and delete that filter. I'm going to save the query. I'm going to go back to my query 9 here. And, oh, sorry, here it is. Query 8. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and print out the order total just to show you. It should be the same as the other one. Gives us all the order totals. Good. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a filter of less than 2,000. See? Good. But now watch what I'm going to do. I'm not going to group by orders, of course, because they're all unique anyway. But I'm going to change this to a where clause. So now it's not part of the result anymore. Whoops. Sorry about that. Here you go. Now it's a where clause. So now I run it. I only get the order IDs. But now watch what I'm going to do. Instead of a group by, I'm going to pick from here count. When you have a count without a group by, it counts all the rows in that table. Not the rows or the number of results in each group, but for the entire table. So a count or a sum or an average with an entire table without a group by applies to the entire table, not just a group. Run it, and I get 23. That's the total number of orders placed. Again, watch what would happen. Group by, run it. See down here it says 23? Count of records. Now I'm going to build a query that just outputs the total. So there are 23 orders where the order total was less than 2,000. We have 23 orders of less than 2,000, 23 small orders in essence. So I showed you two things here, applying an aggregated function to the entire table and using a subquery, a query based on another query. Anyway, here's the way to build this query. So let's try a couple more for ourselves. Again, you should stop the video and first try them before you look at the solution. How many orders were placed from each state? Let's go try that query. How many orders were placed from each state? So what we need to figure out is where we get the information from. So of course I need to figure out state sets and zip codes. And I gotta bring in orders. They're not connected. They're probably connected through contacts. Are they? Yes, they are. Now I have lines everywhere. Very important. Now I'm going to bring down state and order ID. I want to figure out for each state what orders was placed from that state. So for example, from Ohio, I had order 5, order 6, order 9, and order 11 went to Ohio. So how can I count the number of orders within that group? I group by state, and then I count the number of order IDs. So I get the number of orders within each group. So group by, and then here I'm doing a count. Run it, and here I got it. Of course, change the label to orders by state, or simply num orders, whatever you want to call it. Here you go. A little bit bigger here so you can see fully what it looks like. So that's how you count the number of orders that were placed from each state. Next query. Which contacts placed 3 or more orders? Which contacts placed 3 or more orders? Again, stop the video, try it out for yourself. Let's do the query. Which contacts placed more than 3 orders? So we'll bring our contacts and the orders that they're placed. So let's first do contact ID. Let's also bring down last name so we have a bit better display. And the order they placed. Run it. So I know, for example, that Ben Lee placed orders 5, 6, 9, and 11. If I group by these two, I actually can get rid of last name, quite frankly. I don't really need last name. But it was just nice to see. So contact 1, which we happen to know is Lee, Ben Lee, placed orders 5, 6, 9, and 11. What I'm going to do is I'm going to group by the contact ID, and then in each one of them, I count. So we know that Ben Lee placed 4 orders. contact 2, I don't know who that is, also placed 4 orders, and so on. Now look at the thing it said, placed 3 or more orders. So we're going to apply a filter here. 3 or more, greater than or equal to 3. So where the count is greater than or equal to 3. That's contacts 1, 2, and 6. Would, by the way, be nice to know their last names. We'll put them in here instead. We're going to read the contact ID. Although we need to leave it in here just in case you have multiple contacts with the same last name that are different people. So run it. So we know that Lee placed 4 orders, Milgram placed 4 orders, Waddell placed 5 orders. So those are our high ordering customers. Next one, how often was each product ordered? How often was each product ordered? So to that, of course, any products and the line items they appeared in. So here's a product ID. I'm also going to put down the name just for now. And the line item it appeared in. So now, for example, product 13 appeared on this line item 1. Product 22, notice here. Here, and here was ordered multiple times. So let's do a group by here. So we'll line them up a little bit. So we know that, for example, product 1 was as part of line items 4 and 21. Product 2 was in line item 27 and 74. So we know it was ordered twice. Product 3 was ordered twice. Product 4 was ordered more than that. So we're going to again do a group by with a count. Oops. Group by. And then over here, we do a count of each within the group. So product 1 was ordered twice. Product 4 was ordered 4 times. Product 14 was ordered 5 times, and so on. Question 4. Which products have a total sales volume of more than $10,000? In other words, for which products did the total amount sold across all orders exceed $10,000? That's a pretty complicated query. You really got to think about that and decompose it slowly and figure out how to do this. So go think about it and then come back to the solution. So let's go take a look at how we do this. So one of the things we can do is we can bring in products and line items. So I'm going to bring down products and the line item and also the quantity and unit price. So I know that this product was ordered as part of that line item at that quantity times that unit price. And of course I want to know the total, which is quantity times unit price. So let's go run this, and I'll do a group by with the totals up here. So I know, for example, that product 1 was ordered as part of line item 4 at a quantity of 1 with a unit price of $18.99 for that extended price. So notice, product 1 ordered twice, product 2 ordered twice, product 4 ordered 4 times, group by product ID, and then add up extended price. So make sure I got to get rid of that in the query, because otherwise the group by won't work right. Get rid of that. Again, see what the runner looks like. Now group by and add these up. So product 1 was ordered for a total amount of almost $4,000, and I only want the ones that are more than 10,000, greater than 10,000. So run it. So product 4 was ordered at a total quantity of a total amount of $13,794. Product 5 and product 8 were both more than 10,000. So that answers that query. So anyway, now you've seen how to use group by and how to use aggregate functions to apply to groups or entire tables, depending how you use them. Now you should be ready to go and start the lab and work through each query. The key thing is decompose first, think what information is contained in which table, bring them in, slowly build a query, try a few intermediate steps first, and then try to slowly solve it. And sometimes you might go into a dead end, you might have to start again. This is really like a puzzle. Every query is a little bit different. There is no recipe for solving this.